how much training does a police officer receive? What kinds of technology are inside a police car? I will say the days of a handheld radar gun have definitely changed. Today, members of the Paducah Board of Commissioners will be sharing information regarding the Paducah Police Department, while City Commissioner Dujuan Thomas spends some one-on-one time with Paducah Police Chief Laird to see inside the job.
Hey, it's Commissioner Dujuan Thomas, and we're here at the Paducah Police Department. So I guess first we could start with your background, why you decided to become a police officer.
The easiest version of it is I really didn't know what I wanted to do, you know, when I was younger, and law enforcement intrigued me, so I took a few college classes and then did an internship here with the police department, and then, 24 years later, we're sitting here talking.
And so I guess now you've worked up the ranks a little bit. Now you're the chief of the police here in Paducah. So I guess could you give me an overview of like the structure of what a police department and the divisions that are in a police department? You know,
throughout my career, I was very fortunate to work in all of those divisions. And so it really set me up to really be successful as the police chief. But what we have is we have 4 divisions. We have an operations division. That's the marked patrol cars that you see out and about, the most visible part of the police department. We have an investigations support services division. That's our detectives and our records and evidence folks. We have a 911 division that became a part of the police department in 2019. So the 911 center falls underneath the police department. And then we have an administrative division as well.
Okay. And then also we have some pretty exciting divisions with the K9 and the bomb squad. So I guess could you touch a little bit on those?
Sure. Paducah, it's the largest city in Western Kentucky. And we have to be very self-sufficient with the needs, police needs, what our community needs. So we have a bomb squad here that serves 13 counties, one of 5 bomb squads across the entire state of Kentucky. We have a SWAT team, we've got K9 units, we have a drone team. We're trying to utilize technology as well, so we started that last year.
Definitely. And for those that haven't done the Paducah Police Department Citizens Academy, you get to see a lot of those things. And I was here for last year's academy, and seeing that big robot that y'all use with the bomb squad, that was exciting to see because it's huge, and it's a lot of technology that goes into policing. So I guess also, could we move on to city crime stats and like the myths that come along with policing?
Sure. First and foremost, let me say Paducah is a very safe city to live in. There are oftentimes some internet articles that get put out, and the myth behind that is they'll say that Paducah is the most dangerous city in Kentucky, which is just absolutely not true. And anybody that lives here knows that, especially if you've traveled anywhere else. The way those crime stats are calculated is they take it based off of our census population. And we all know that Paducah has a much higher population during the daytime, typically around 100,000. So when you compare our crime and collision statistics to against a city that has 100,000 population, we're doing much better than most of those cities.
Definitely. And then I guess could we move on to like training? Because I know Paducah Police, we do a great job of training our officers. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And I think that training ties into our crime and our collisions as well. And one thing I forgot to mention was that since 2019, major crime and crime in general across the entire city has gone down every year. So we saw a major decrease in 2020 during the pandemic. Obviously, people weren't out as much, so crime went down. But we maintained that. It was about a 16% decrease in 2020, and we've maintained that and then additional decreases every year. But we attribute that to, our officers are very effective with what they do when they go out and about, and we live in a great community. So the partnership that we have within the community is really what aids in the reduction of crime. Just to touch on a little bit more of our training, every police officer in the state of Kentucky, after they graduate from the police academy, is required to have an additional 40 hours of training every year to maintain their certification. At the Paducah Police Department, we do that at the minimum, but typically officers are getting 80 to 120 hours of training, additional training each year. And we try to focus those trainings on things that are going to keep the officers safe as well as keep the community safe. And then we've incorporated technology into that training as well. So we have a training simulator within our training room that provides real life training scenarios. We do a lot of roll call trainings when officers come in. So, a lot of short 10, 15-minute topics that are discussed. And we feel like that's really what has helped keep the officers safe as well as keep the community safe as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas and Chief Laird, for an overview of the Paducah Police Department structure. Also, thank you for the information about the hours and hours of training our officers receive to make sure they're prepared to help this community. Now up next, Commissioner Thomas and Chief Laird go on patrol to learn more about technology and how today a police car is really a mobile office.
This is amazing because I've never been inside. Well, I have been inside a police car, but I've never done a ride along before.
Just the front, right?
Yeah, just the front, just
Okay.
the front.
Just checking.
So this is the most inside look you can get of a police officer being in the vehicle, because most officers, I guess, are in here how many hours a day?
8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
If they're working or more. If they're working overtime, I mean, they could be in here 16 hours a day.
Oh man.
And you really nailed it for the patrol officer that's out and about. That when you see the marked police car, it's a mobile office.
Yeah.
The technology that's out there, we try to stay ahead of stuff and be top of the line with everything that we have. But if you get pulled over, the officer has a printer in their car now. It's electronic.
Yeah.
That's the way everything is now.
Yeah.
And so I mean, there's a laptop, there's a printer. We have there's a radar that captures speed. It does stuff out the front as well as there's one in the back.
So you don't have to use the handheld anymore?
Don't have to use a handheld.
Okay.
We still have them,
Yeah.
and there's still times where we use those. But this captures while you're moving down the street. You don't have to be sitting stationary anymore.
And can I touch on that one time?
Yeah.
Because I always see those videos online are like, oh, did you calibrate it? Is that something that has to be calibrated?
Yeah, it
or-
is.
Okay.
Yeah, there's tuning forks. They're calibrated. They run them through tests, and they check them to make sure that they're accurate before they use them.
Awesome.
Yep.
But
Some of the other technology that's in here is, as you know, we have body cameras. We also have in-car cameras. We've had in-car cameras, I believe it was since 1998.
oh wow.
So really long time,
Yeah.
way before body cameras ever existed. We had in-car cameras, and the way that worked was there was a camera mounted up on the windshield, and there was a VCR in the trunk,
oh man.
and that's what recorded it. So that's
Goodness.
how long it's been.
Yeah.
But we have the newest technology that you can have through Axon. Our body cameras and the in-car cameras, they integrate together. And these cameras also have license plate readers built into them. So, the officers are going down the street. If there's a stolen car or there is a missing child or a golden alert, all of us have aging parents and grandparents. So, those get entered into the national database. And if that car goes by an officer, the officer doesn't have to run the license plate. This is automatically checking for that. So just ways that we're trying to use technology to be more efficient and be better at our job.
I guess we should get rolling.
Well, let's go
then.
for a drive.
So I guess it's been a while since you've been on patrol. What was it like being on patrol?
That was some of the most fun times that I had in my career. You get to go out and, one of the things that I did a lot of was impaired driving. So, you get to do your best to try to keep the community safe. You get out, you interact with folks. And then I spent most of my career working investigations.
Oh, okay.
And so that was fun. But, you hone those skills as a patrol officer.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, on top of community engagement, we talked a lot about that. We're crime fighters too.
Yeah.
Our officers are out, they're constantly looking for things when they're patrolling. And so we encourage them to be proactive. And that's one of the ways that you can help keep crime down. If you see somebody that looks suspicious in a certain way, then, maybe you get out and talk to them.
Yeah. And I guess I see in several other cities, there's always policy in place about police chases. I don't know if you could touch on the topic of the policy here for chases and things like
Sure. We do have a policy on that. It is we'll call it a restrictive policy, because the need to apprehend the offender must outweigh the risk, because vehicle pursuits are very dangerous. They're dangerous for the public, they're dangerous for the officer, and they're dangerous for the person that's run from the police. So we do allow vehicle pursuits under certain circumstances. They have to be approved by a supervisor, and it has to meet certain criteria. Mainly if it's a major felony offense, something that's violent, it has to the danger of the chase has to outweigh the danger to the community.
Right. And then something that makes me think about how far police cars have come, because I remember the Crown Vics being the main police car when I was a kid. So could you talk about where I guess whenever you started the type of police cars to what we have now, and why we choose to go with like the SUV type.
Yeah, so you dated me a little bit, Dujuan. So I did have a Crown Vic.
Oh,
That
okay.
was my car. It's still my favorite police car.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when they stopped making the Crown Victoria, police didn't really know what was next.
Yeah.
And then times have changed to where officers have a whole lot more equipment now. And so that's one of the reasons why we have SUVs.
Okay.
So they do have more room, but officers are carrying a lot more equipment now. All of our officers are equipped with long rifles. We've got extra cones in the back for traffic collisions. We have active shooter kits.
Okay.
They have riot control equipment as well. So you can't fit all that stuff in a small trunk.
Yeah. And I guess y'all also have non-lethal weapons as well?
We do. Yeah, we have a lot of what we call less lethal beanbag shotguns. All the officers carry tasers. We utilize pepper spray. We have pepper ball guns. So, we want to do everything that we can to, obviously not take a life. So we try to use all those methods if necessary, to prevent lethal force.
Definitely. And maybe
Well, we are pulling into the parking lot of the police department, and I wouldn't be myself if I didn't mention the fact of the need for the new police department.
Oh yeah.
We're working on that property now.
Yeah.
Trying to get that solidified, and then hopefully within the next couple of years we can get moving on that and build a modern police facility that's actually made for the police.
Yeah.
That has room, that's preparing us and our community for the future of what policing looks like.
Definitely. And then also that new police station may host the training for
That's
our
right.
officers. So
That's
that's a plus because like I say, Paducah Police, y'all always go above and beyond. So if y'all could train our officers too, I know that'll make a huge impact.
Yeah, we think that would be a fantastic add to our community. It would help with recruiting because people won't have to travel 5 hours to Richmond, Kentucky
Right.
for 18 weeks.
Yeah.
Be away from their families. And so we think that will increase our recruitment efforts, and people will be able to sleep in their own bed at night. So you may get some folks that have single parents that want to be a police officer but they can't be away for as long as they are.
Yeah.
Or you have folks that have families with young kids or even older kids, and they don't want to they don't want to be away, and you really can't blame them for that.
Right.
Family has to come first, and it's one of the things that we try to do here at the police department is take care of our officers because we know that they have a stressful job, and we try to incorporate and make this as much of a family as possible.
Definitely.
Some of the other technology that the officers have capable, that we've got laptops in the cars, and we talked about the in-car camera that also has a license plate reader built into it. The flock camera systems.
Yeah.
So we've put numerous license plate reader stationary cameras all across the city, and the goal behind that is to capture folks that are coming in our community that are committing crime. We want to, if they've done crime somewhere else and they're wanted, we want to catch them before they do something here.
Right.
And so those systems have been very effective so far at helping us catch stolen cars, wanted people, elderly folks that are missing. And that's right at the fingertips of the officers. So whenever those cameras alert to something, it alerts in a dispatch center, and it can also alert directly to the officer's laptop to let them know. So they know where the cameras are stationed at. And so if it alerts and they're close by, they can automatically start looking for that vehicle. And it just makes us be more efficient and hopefully more effective with doing our job.
That's awesome. I kind of do want, what does the sirens sound like from the inside of the police car? Okay, so it's not that loud inside.
It's not that loud, but
Yeah.
You get right in front of it, it's pretty loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, technology, we also have rear cameras.
Yeah.
So the camera faces inside the prisoner compartment. The officers can monitor that while they're transporting somebody. But that's also, protects the officers too. The body cameras protect the officers from complaints, false complaints.
Yeah.
But it also protects the citizens as well. If there's something that, if they have a complaint on the officer, we can come review that. And sometimes it's just an educational thing. People want to know, well, why did the officer do this? Why did they do that? And we'll have a supervisor review it and talk with that citizen and explain to them a lot of times, well, this is why it transpired a certain way. And most of the time, those things are resolved with just, an understanding of why certain procedures are followed.
That made me think of one question. I noticed that the lights are inside of the police cars now instead of being a light bar on top. Why was the transition to that made?
We made that transition when we switched over. We put some lights along the sides. So the lights on the top, they don't really shine out enough. You know, like if you're going through an intersection, you know, you only get a very small 6-7 inch light on one side.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we wanted to be able to be more visible. Helps protect the officers, help protect the community as well. You know, when officers are responding to serious things, you know, they need to get there as fast as they can, but as safely as possible. And so it helps them clear intersections quite a bit better by having, we've got running board lights on the sides now, and then there are some lights in the windows as well. So that was really the main driver behind it. The other thing it does is it keeps us from having to drill holes through the roof of the car too.
So a little longevity there.
And may help out with the gas mileage, you know,
okay, yeah.
if they're out driving, you know, out on the highway or something like that. So it does cut back on some of the wind resistance, but it's more of a slick look, just a little bit of a change.
So and I guess if anybody else wanted to do something like this and ride along with the officer, how could they sign up to do that?
You just call the police department. You can send an email in, and you know, we have an open ride-along policy. Obviously, we got to do a background check just to make sure that you're not wanted. But we have had that in place for a couple decades. We're open. We encourage folks, if you want to learn more about policing, if you want to be a police officer, we encourage you to come do a ride along. You know, can't get out of here without throwing a little recruiting bit in there. You know, come see what it's like to be the police. And then if you're interested in it, then, you know, we can get you more information. But if you're just a citizen that's interested in wanting to learn more about your police department, the best way that you can learn more about your police department is to come do the Citizens Police Academy. And I know that you did that a couple years ago. I know you learned a lot out of it. And I've heard you encouraging a lot of people to do that. And then, you know, as part of that too, then you can do a ride along as well. And so you take some of what you learned in the classroom and out doing some of the demonstrations that we do, and you get to see it in real life action. You know, we're kind of an open book. We want to be transparent.
Definitely.
We've got our annual report that we put out every year.
Oh yeah.
You know, encourage folks to look at go to the city website and get that information.
Definitely, and that's one great thing to see as a police department that's super transparent like you are, allowing the community to come in and get a full view of what y'all do. So grateful for that, and I know our community is grateful for that.
Thank you, Chief Laird, for the peek at patrolling. As a reminder, if you're interested in the department or in becoming a police officer, the police department provides a free Citizens Police Academy and a junior academy each year. Plus, you can take part in a ride-along. Definitely a great way to see our community from a new perspective. Up next, Commissioner Thomas and Chief Laird visit the 911 Center to learn about a multi-million-dollar upgrade to our 911 service for the safety of city and county residents and businesses.
The building behind us is the 911 Center. So that's where anybody that calls 911, the calls come in here. That's also where all of our dispatchers dispatch the calls out to the police officers and the firefighters when somebody needs help.
Definitely. And so we recently took on this multi-million-dollar project, you know, to help alleviate the stress of the radio situation that's been going on, because they're severely outdated. So could you touch on a little bit about that?
Sure. The most important thing with this project is there's so many dead spots in the city right now. So, you know, we have portable radios like this one here. And so everybody is either getting those replaced, or we're actually reprogramming these because we were able to get them off of a grant a couple years ago. But the project, you know, is to help our officers and the firefighters, because when they're out places, if they're in the back of Walmart or sometimes they're in schools, the radio just doesn't work, and so they can't communicate to the dispatch center. And you know, this is really the lifeblood for everybody that's out there that's a first responder. You got to be able to communicate with your dispatchers.
And this isn't only benefiting the city, it's also a partnership with the county as well, right?
That's right. This is a joint partnership. It took us a long time to get here, but the current fiscal court, current city commission, they pushed this project forward. And way past due, but we're just about to the end, and we're hoping that this new system will go live in January or February timeframe.
Definitely. And for some of those that may not be familiar, I guess could you talk about what are these new pieces that are going into place here?
Sure. Everything inside the dispatch center that is radio related is being replaced. So all of the consoles are being replaced. But the most important thing that's happening is, you know, we have one tower here at the 911 Center, and the new system will incorporate 5 towers. And so what that will allow for is these handheld radios should work anywhere in the county, and they should be above a 95% reliability. which is what the national standard is.
So recently at a commission meeting, you gave us a rundown on some of the new equipment that's actually outside as well. So could you tell us a little bit about those new pieces?
Sure. At every location, there will be a shelter that will house some of the radio equipment. There's a generator there, and there's also a fuel source. And so what that is that way, no matter what the circumstances are, if we have a natural disaster here, everything should still function appropriately. If for some reason we lost one of the sites due to maybe a tornado or a fire or something else, then the other sites will continue to operate independently of that.
So I guess you could tell us a little bit about what's behind this caged-in area here.
Yeah, so what we have fenced here is all new stuff that is part of the radio project. Yeah. So there's a shelter there that houses the equipment. It has its own generator, it has its own fuel source, and that way anytime we have any issue, if power goes out, we're going to be able to function and never miss a beat. So the dispatchers will be able to continue to communicate with the police officers, with the firefighters. We can, in an emergency, we have to be able to function. We are 911, yeah. So we are the emergency response.
Definitely. And so what's the budget on this whole entire project right here?
The entire radio project is around $10 million by the time you factor in all the infrastructure, the tower equipment, the radios that are being purchased by the city and the county both. It's close to about $10 million.
When you call 911, you want to know that someone is there to help you and that the first responders can communicate with each other and the dispatch center during an emergency. These upgrades are critical in making sure that the city and county 911 system is reliable when you need it. This upgrade is one of the most important projects that the city and county have joined together to make happen. Up next, Chief Laird and Commissioner Thomas are heading to Robert Coleman Park to talk about ways the police department engages with the community.
All right, Chief, so we are here at Robert Coleman Park, and that will lead us into our conversation about community engagement. So what does the police department do here to be involved with the community?
Well, I think we've established that police and community relationships are extremely important. We still operate under a community policing philosophy within the police department. Being here at Coleman Park on the basketball court, throughout the summertime, there's a lot of times you may see officers get out. They shoot hoops with the kids. They will do neighborhood walks. We have a full-time community engagement officer that goes out and helps facilitate a lot of the stuff that we do within the community. So, we know that we get our power from the community, and so it's important that we stay engaged with the community because that's what helps keep our community safe.
Definitely, and over the years, y'all have created the partnership with the Housing Authority. Could you tell us a little bit about that partnership?
That's right. Several years ago, there was the idea of just having a fun day put together for the Housing Authority, and so our officers worked with the Housing Authority, and that has really grown. And now there's multiple vendors that show up and provide lots of services to folks that live within the housing community.
Definitely, and somewhat outside of the fun side of things with our deflection team, they're out here helping people that may be going through drug abuse or mental crisis. So could you touch on them a little bit?
Yeah, about a year ago we started kind of a new thing here in Paducah. It's new in policing a little bit. Some places have had social workers on staff for a little while now, but we felt like there's such an issue with drug use as well as homelessness and mental health issues. And most of the time, those three things are intertwined. And so we spend a lot of time, our officers respond to a lot of calls with folks that are in crisis. And we recognize that. And, sometimes it's repeat calls. And so we created a position. We hired a deflection specialist is what we titled it as. And then we hired a police officer that was retired that had a lot of experience working with the community as well. And that's what makes up our deflection team. And so they go out and they're not necessarily first responders. I guess we could classify them as second responders, but they'll go out and do follow-up. So when our officers are out with somebody that needs some services basically, and we've seen great success with that. The deflection team will respond. Sometimes they respond after the officers have been there. Other times it may be the next day. and they'll do a follow-up with them.
Definitely. And that kind of leads me into also our police officers sometimes walk the neighborhoods just to engage with the community. So could you touch on that initiative?
Yeah, that's right. So one of the things we do is we do neighborhood walks. You may see officers downtown, when the weather's nice, and obviously we stay pretty busy. So whenever calls allow it to where they can basically check out of their car for a little bit, and it's good for them too to get out and move around instead of riding around in the car for 8 or 10 hours a day. You'll see them, walking up and down the street on the sidewalks, just talking with community members.
Definitely. And you may also see them here actually playing basketball with some kids every so often. So
that's right.
That's some pretty exciting stuff, and super grateful for our police force and all the work that y'all put behind our community, because y'all definitely do an amazing job. So I'm grateful for all of y'all.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think that we definitely feel the support of the community, as well as from the city commission as well.
Definitely. So I guess since we're out here on a basketball court, we might as well shoot some shots as well.
Sure.
So
as long as you don't mind getting beat.
I don't know. My shot's not always been the best, but let's see. Oh my gosh, I hope I don't fail on camera. Hey, there it is. Oh, I got you on
Looks
that
like
one.
you win.
That's my one right there.
That's one.
Outshot the chief right there.
All right, here we go. I got it.
Oh, we're gonna get you a good edit. Just use my shots as he is. Oh no, I'm missing two. I still got it.
I am carrying a few extra pounds with the gun and a radio and handcuffs. So
I understand.
Well, Chief, thanks for coming out.
Sure,
This has been a lot of fun. So, yes, sir.
Wow, what a beautiful day to shoot some hoops. Engaging with the community strengthens trust and collaboration between our police department and Paducah residents. Even though crime prevention and solving crimes are what officers do each and every day, each officer works hand in hand with members of the community. Officers rely on us to help them be effective and efficient in protecting Paducah. So the next time you see an officer, thank them for what they do each and every day, and maybe take a moment to play a little basketball.
I want to thank Paducah Police Chief Brian Laird for showing us inside the job. Also, thank you to Commissioner Dujuan Thomas for asking great questions and spending the day with the police department. And to the mayor and city commissioners for helping us pull the entire episode together. As a reminder, if you want to learn more, visit the city's website, paducahky.gov. The department's annual report is there, along with information on how to become a member of the police department. Thank you for joining us inside the job.